EasyJet is a British airline headquartered in London with a fleet of 187 aircraft. It carries more passengers than any other United Kingdom airline, operating domestic and international scheduled services on 500 routes between 118 European, North African, and West Asian airports. The airline is owned by Sir Stelios Haji Ioannou, a Greek Cypriot national who was knighted by Queen Elizabeth. The Stelios name was involved with a 1991 oil tanker disaster that resulted in the death of 5 Europeans and the disgorging of up to 50,000 tons of crude oil into the Mediterranean Sea. On a flight from Athens to London, this passenger, Jan Marat, recorded and posted to YouTube a real-time aerosols release from EasyJet, a low-cost passenger airline. It has long been suspected that discount airlines can only afford to sell cheap tickets when the owners sign secret government contracts to spray toxins over the populations and into the cabin of other aircraft that fly near where the aerosols have been sprayed. This documentation of aerosol releases by passenger aircraft significantly raises the probability that the takeoff and landing fuel supplies are normal JP4, but that a secondary aerosol fuel supply is switched on at cruise altitude. Also, the altitude of these toxic releases is nowhere near high enough to qualify as stratospheric aerosol geoengineering. Investigator Cliff Carnicom has long established that aerosols at lower altitudes actually trap heat to force atmospheric warming. Investigators need to ask if these aerosols are a deliberate attempt at forcing anthropomorphic global warming, or AGW, through a covert campaign of aerosol releases misrepresented by plausible deniability as geoengineering aerosols to mitigate so-called global warming. Important also to consider is that the passenger aircraft bleed valve system used to pressurize and supply cabin air to passengers and crew is pumping these aerosol toxins into the cabin at cruise altitude, where the fresh releases of these toxins are most concentrated and potent. The bleed valve issue has been extensively documented by aerotoxic.org, a group that blames the defective design of the valve for poisoning passengers and crew when the fumes from engine oil leaks are pumped into the cabin air supply. It may be counterintuitive, but the aerotoxic.org group is reluctant to acknowledge toxic aerosol releases as a problem associated with the bleed valve. The confusion of adding geoengineering aerosols to the group's long-established claim that fumes from organophosphate oil leaks are the sole toxin responsible for the health disorders, and that this jeopardizes ongoing lawsuits against the airlines, where scores of pilots and crew are seeking disability and medical compensation from the airlines and aircraft manufacturers.